Hello, I'm Emmeline.
And I'm Kindy.
And welcome to Stuff with Moms, a podcast about shows, stories, and enjoying life. So, Kindy.
Emmeline, how's your week?
You beat me again. It was good. We went to Kyle's sister's house, Joy, and her husband, Doug. And we spent time with them and their two kids, Audrey and Eric, and we had a lot of fun. So we went Friday and Saturday, and Friday we stayed up late and played games. We played 10 Penny Park.
Never heard of that.
It's a game where you own, it's kind of like a little carnival.
Okay.
And you purchase all these little rides or concessions for your carnival and build it up. And certain rides get you more points, but you need to be collecting money from your concessions in order to buy the rides, you know. Anyway, it's a fun game. I won, so that makes it even better.
Sweet. Yes, it does. Good job.
And then we played Power Grid, which is a game where you claim a city and build a power plant there to power the city. And you have to purchase resources in order to power your plant. And so the more cities you purchase and then the more cities you can power gets you points. And so you want to have the most cities and power the most plants at those cities to win the game.
Interesting.
It's a fun game, and we had a good time playing games. Saturday, we went to Eric's soccer game and Audrey's soccer game. And Eric, he's little, you know, and so when they play soccer, they kind of just run around kicking the ball.
Oh, so fun. Yeah.
And Eric, he's so funny. Like, it's fun to watch anyway, because it's a bunch of little kids, you know, chasing a ball around a field. Eric could care less about soccer. He follows where everybody else is running, but he also pulls his jersey up over his face, and so he can see through it.
Oh.
And runs around with his shirt over his head. Oh, man, I laughed so much during that game. Oh, it was great to watch him. And then Audrey's game was actually really good. They scored lots of points, and, you know, Audrey's older, and so they understand more what's going on, right? Mm-hmm. And her team ended up winning 5 points to 4 points. So it was a close game. Dang. And there was a whole bunch of points scored right at the end, which was really exciting. So it was a good game to watch. Joy actually coaches Audrey's team.
Oh, okay.
She's one of the coaches. There's two coaches. It was fun to see her in action, giving her team direction and stuff. So anyway, it was a great time. It was awesome. A great weekend. How was your weekend?
Sounds like it. It was good. Anders had Thursday and Friday off, and Emmeline was kind of sick, so I just kept her home. So most of us were home for the last half of the week, and I read a lot, and I read like 3 of Sarah M. Eden's books, and I got sick of it, and then I wanted to read more, so I started another one today.
Okay, I need to ask you, what did you think of To Kiss a Stranger?
Oh my gosh, I loved it. It was so good. I stayed up all night. It's like a tie between that one and Romancing Daphne. It's fun how the characters intertwine with each other.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying them.
It's nice to get free books on my phone. I am. Little too much. What was it that I was neglecting? I think it was laundry. I can't remember, but I'm still semi-productive. I swept my garage and vacuumed out my car yesterday. So
good job.
not all is a waste. But that was also my break of being done with reading for a bit. So it did not last very long. So you have our obscure holiday.
Monday, October 30th, is National Candy Corn Day.
I'm definitely celebrating this one.
Are you one of the people that doesn't like candy corn, or do you like candy corn?
I love candy corn every year. And I love those little pumpkins too.
Yeah.
So like the candy corn and the pumpkins. I don't like the ones with the chocolate on the bottom.
Me either. Ugh.
No,
They're so
right?
gross.
Yeah. They are
But I
gross. They're
love
not so
candy
good.
corn. We always buy several bags and then eat them all really fast. And so then I have to buy several more bags.
Nice.
So we love candy corn at our house. Although I shouldn't say we. Clark and I love candy corn in our house. Kyle and Lorenzo are indifferent. It's not that they hate it. They just don't love it. But it's delicious. So let me tell you a little bit about Candy Corn Day.
Okay.
The first company that created candy corn was in the 1800s. It was Wonderly Candy Company, and they named it Chicken Feed. Not appealing at all, but they named it that to kind of appeal to farmers. And it was a hit, and then other companies took it and started making it. The Golitz company, the Jelly Belly company, they make Jelly Bellies.
Oh, okay.
They started selling it, and they became like the first one to commercially make large amounts of it. But Brock's started making it, and they're the best seller of it, the highest seller of it. And the Jelly Belly company still makes it. They just don't sell quite as much as Brock's does.
Brock's.
If that's how you pronounce that one. I always call it Brock's, but if you like candy corn, you know what I'm talking about. Brock's. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either.
This is from 2016. They annually produce 35 million pounds of candy corn in the United States alone.
Oh, my word.
So that's a lot of candy corn.
Do you think you eat about a ton of that?
We probably buy about 30 bags of candy corn. So that's a pound each. So 30 pounds. Yeah. And between Clark and I, we eat about, a bag a day. That's a lot. Jeez, now that I put a number to it. Oh.
You have that.
Right.
With the two of you. So it's less and you don't have to feel so bad and can still enjoy your candy corn chicken feed. I think that's fun. Yeah. They should tell. Have you told Clark it's called chicken feed?
I haven't. All right. So ways you can celebrate: make candy corn cookies. There's actually a couple of really good recipes out there. Then you can add it to your snacks. And then the last thing you can do is just buy some candy corn and eat it.
I'll choose that one.
So National Candy Corn Day falls on the same date as Sugar Addiction Awareness Day.
Ooh.
I thought that was so funny. And that they put sugar addiction awareness the day before Halloween.
Right?
So if you'd like to do some introspection while you're eating your candy corn, you can celebrate Sugar Addiction Awareness Day if you want. You have our word of the week.
I do. So it is splenetic.
Splenetic. Splitting something in half.
Nope.
Okay.
It is a formal word that typically describes expressions of sharp annoyance and anger.
Oh.
Yeah. So like the newspaper publisher's splenetic editorials often struck fear into local politicians. Splenetic. Oh.
I can't think of a time when I'm sharply annoyed.
Right?
Sharp annoyance.
But it could do that angry one.
Ah, that's annoying me so bad.
Right? Stop asking me why. You have our good news.
So this is a story about Winnie. And she is a little dachshund. They're a hound dog that normally gives birth to a litter between 1 and 6 puppies. But Winnie gave birth to 11 puppies.
Holy crap.
Yeah. The previously high-ranked dachshund was Cheesecake, who gave birth to 10 puppies in September of 2021. The Guinness Book of World Records doesn't keep a record for individual dog breeds, but on the internet, Winnie's winning for the dachshund dog breed with 11 puppies. And her owner says that she's a good mom. She keeps next to them and takes care of them. She only has 10 nipples, so the puppies have to take turns getting fed. I think puppies are the cutest.
They are.
And I'll put a picture on our Facebook page of her little 11 puppies, because they are so cute. Oh my gosh. So I thought it would be fun to talk about, because Halloween is right around the corner, that we could talk about what we do to prepare for Halloween. What are your Halloween preparations, Kindy?
Mine are not fun. There's hardly any. I don't have a whole lot of decorations, because the way I operate in regards to decorations is I wait till after the holiday to then buy the decorations half off at Walmart.
Nice.
Last year was fruitless because I only bought 2 indoor lights and I thought they were outdoor lights, and I haven't even put them out yet. So it's just sitting in our storage area and have yet to appear. But Anders wanted a pumpkin, so we got him a pumpkin, and he wanted to carve it and paint it. So I carved it and he painted it. And he drew the face on, and then I carved that. And he loved it, but we did it too early because the pumpkin is dying.
Oh no.
That's very slow death. There's mold inside of it, and I don't want to put a candle in there because I don't want to put my hand in there. And it'd be a decrepit old pumpkin. So we're going to have to get a new pumpkin closer to Halloween and tell him it's just going to sit there until we're ready to carve it or something. I don't know. Our preparations are pretty minimal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have neighbors who went all in. Like, we just moved into this neighborhood, and they have a fog machine and creepy things hanging in the trees, and they put like bloody handprints all over their garage door with the word help written in fake blood across the garage door. And I was like, wow. Yeah. And the boys came home from school, and Clark was like, let's decorate for Halloween. I was like, okay, we'll do it, but right now I have to go get your brother. And then I ended up putting it off for 2 weeks, which wasn't on purpose, just happened that way. And then we finally got the decorations put up this week, so that was good. But we don't have tons, we have some window clings and a couple of little like pictures we hang up. Oh, and I did buy some of those like cottony stretchy web things, so we put those up. And every year we carve pumpkins, and Kyle tries to get the smallest pumpkin he can find to carve, because he doesn't like scraping all the guts out. So we all have big pumpkins, and Kyle's pumpkin's like this big.
That's awesome. What? Okay, so Anders is here. He wants to say hi.
Okay.
Can you say hi?
Hi,
What are you going to tell everybody what you're going to be for Halloween?
I'm gonna be Batman.
Batman. That's good.
Ooh.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, good night. Let's hope it sticks. I think that's the longest running desire of his. So I think we're settled on Batman. So that's good.
Nice.
Yeah. Because it was like Batman to a soldier, I think, to Marshall, one of the Paw Patrol.
Right.
We need to go
Dogs.
get his costume before he changes his mind.
You have our movie quote for next episode.
If I'm lucky, I'll only have to search one ocean.
Okay, now we're gonna do our main segment. We've got spoilers for He's Just Not That Into You. We'll summarize it. We'll tell you what we liked and didn't like about it. We've got our questions that we thought of while we watched it. And then we got our rating of 0 to 5 stars. And then if it's mom approved, who will we not let watch the show? And then we're going to discuss the top 3 ways we could tell if a guy wasn't into us.
I feel like it's mostly just how women lie to each other, where it starts at the beginning of where a boy pushes you or pinches you or pulls your hair, and then your mom tells you that it's because they like you, and you're like, okay, that's the weirdest thing in the world. I don't know, because I've heard that before, and I've told that to little girls before. I don't know where I heard it. I don't even know or understand. Anyway, that like rang true. And I don't know why, because boys should not be that rude to girls, period, if you like them or not. If you are not mature enough to say, I like you, then don't talk to girls. Don't interact. Like, that's just rude. Anyway, so it's basically this whole movie is about all these lies that we tell ourselves and that we tell to other women about a guy who is just not that into you. And so then it goes on and kind of shows you this main character and how everybody kind of interlinks with her, and how she finally is figuring it out. And then, yeah.
That's a good summary, Kindy.
Yeah.
That was perfect. Okay, so I really liked Jennifer Goodwin's character, Gigi. She's like the main one that you kind of follow her path. And she is just, and all the characters in this, the thing that I really like about this movie is you see yourself in all these different characters in different ways. Like, oh, that happened to me once, or that happened to somebody I know once, or, you know, and it's just so relatable.
It is. It's super relatable. Yeah, I was actually going to ask who your favorite character was, because she's my favorite.
Gigi.
As well. Yeah.
Yeah. She's so good. It was funny because I was watching the extras for the movie, and Jennifer Goodwin, she read through the script and she's like, I have to try out for Gigi. I loved her so much that I wanted that part so bad. And I was like, she did a perfect job. Like, she did so good. You love her, you empathize with her, you feel the feelings she feels as she's going through these situations, and you're just like, ugh. I love the part where she comes in and, you know, she stayed up all night because she talked with Alex, and she has muffin in her hair. She's just a mess, right? And she comes in and she's like, we're not the exception. We're the rule.
We're the rule.
And she is just, after she says it, it's like she's coming to terms with this thing, and she hates it. She hates that she's the rule and not the exception.
Yeah, especially like your heart kind of goes out to her, especially when it's like dawning on her that she should not be spending time with guys who don't like her. And she's like, well, then there's going to be nobody left. And you're like, oh, come on.
Alex,
go out
stop
with
being
guys that
so
don't like
harsh.
you. I know.
But at the same time, she kind of needed that harshness because her friends were always just like, so
lying to her.
Not in a trying to soften the blow, I guess. It wasn't that
By
they were
lying
lying
to
to her like meanly. They were
No,
they were
but
lying,
they were lying to her. They didn't know he was gonna call.
Yeah,
And
but
all of their situations were like, after my date, I called Neil, and after our date, it was 11 days until Bradley Cooper called me, and I can't remember his character. I think it was Ben. But yeah. And so and the black-haired girl, she kind of was driving me crazy because she's the most delusional.
black-haired girl.
The one that's married to, I can't remember the actress's name, but she's the one married to Bradley Cooper's character.
Oh,
Jennifer Connelly.
Yep.
But yeah, she's like, he'll call. Like she just kept repeating that. He'll call.
I think that it wasn't that they were lying, it's just they were hopeful. And that's the thing that Gigi kept being hopeful that things would happen. You know, maybe I am the exception in her hopefulness. Because I kind of like that guy. It could work out. We got along well over drinks.
Even though the date was mediocre.
Even though the date was...
Well, that's one of the things that Alex tells her. He's like, okay, your date with Connor, it was mediocre, and yet you obsessed with him and you check to see if he called or see if he left a message. Anyway.
Yeah. What's something you liked?
I love the part where they're talking about how she, because one of the sisters is getting married and they're giving her a hard time for marrying so soon. And she's like, we're in love. That's why we're getting married. That's what people do when they're in love. They get married. And then they all look at Jennifer and she's like, I'm fine. It's okay. And then one of the sisters is like, look at Al Pacino. Never married. Happy as a clam. I know. And I love the hand clap that she does.
Yeah. Oh, it was great.
What about you?
I liked all the interviews they do of like people on the street. And they aren't real actual people on the street. These are actors portraying interviews of people on the street. But they are funny. I love how they're inserted, when they're inserted. They have like this phrase written across the screen, followed by these like interviews. And they are they're so good.
Yeah. They are. Especially the first one with the girl and saying, you don't need to know who's calling. You pick up and you find out. And so she's like, I'd like to call at 15-minute intervals to pick up. Just you see my name and you don't pick up. And she's like, I'm not crazy, obviously.
The girl who did not like caller ID.
Yeah.
I like the two women that were talking about how the men always make it seem like breaking up is their idea. And you can tell these two are just buddies, you know, just really good friends. And they're just having a good time with their interview.
Yeah. I like the scene where Justin Long, so Gigi's love interest,
Alex.
Okay. Yeah, goes over to Connor's house, so Kevin Connolly, and he's like, do you want a beer? And Connor comes out and he's got a pink t-shirt on, so he's like or apple martini, and so he's giving him a hard time, and Connor's like, I'm trying to be gay friendly. And then Connor goes, or in real estate terms, gay adjacent.
Yeah.
I love that part.
That was great. There's a part where Alex is kind of letting there's the hostess at the bar that he works with. It's played by Busy Phillips. And she comes in and she's like, I had a really great time the other night. And he's like, yeah, me too. And she's still trying to like see if this could go somewhere. And he just tells it to her straight. He's like, that was a good time, but that was it. Like, it's not going to ever go anywhere. And she is so flustered. And so she like rushes out and he's like, oh, and I hated this part. So it was a good part tied in with a part I hated. He's like, hey, babe, could you shut the door?
Right? It's like, no pet name.
How dare you call her babe after that? Like, that was a little bit of a, what's the word? Masculine? No, misogynistic. Anyway, I hated him at that spot because I was like, oh, how dare he? And he's her boss. And like all the things. I was like, that just crossed so many no-nos. Okay, what else do you got?
It's a sad part. I always felt bad for Drew Barrymore's character because she just has no luck whatsoever. And it's the part where they're in the store and they're shopping and she's talking about all the technologies and she's like, he texted me on my phone, so I emailed him on his BlackBerry, and it like keeps going. And she's like, you check all these technologies and just getting denied from 7 different technologies. It's exhausting.
Yeah. I kind of feel that way with like this podcast because there's so many places where you could like promote our podcast. There's so much out there. I have to kind of like, I'm only going to do these ones. That's it. And that's what we're going to do. But should I branch out? But I don't want to have to check all these all the time and do all this stuff with all of them. And bleh.
Right.
And so I got where she was coming from with that. I felt her pain.
Yeah.
The part where Jennifer Connelly's character, Janine, Gigi comes in and she's like, oh, I have the signs. Like, these are I figured out the signs of why Alex likes her. And Janine's like, ooh, signs. I love signs. And she comes over. And then she's like, she gets on her computer and she's like, where do you want your destination wedding?
Yeah. She like jumped so far.
Oh, man. It was so extreme, but it made me laugh so hard.
Yeah. I loved it when Neil, Ben Affleck, comes to help Jennifer Aniston. So it's after they break up. So Beth is her character. It's after they break up and her dad has a heart attack at her sister's wedding. And so she's trying to take care of the dad and clean the house. And the brother-in-laws are being lazy and awful and not thinking at all. And then she comes into the kitchen and there's Neil. He's cleaned all the dishes. He's done the laundry. He's bought groceries and then they get back together after that. But
it's really great.
I love that. I thought that was so sweet. Yeah. Where your man gets to the point of being that thoughtful. It's the best.
It is.
My other one is this is how I wrote it down. I said, every girl wants to be interrupted with a kiss by the guy that they like, because Alex interrupts Gigi when she kept protesting that like he was not into her. And then she goes, I'm the exception. And he goes, you're my exception.
Oh,
I love that.
That's so cute.
You are my exception. And then he kisses her some more.
So cute.
Yeah.
Okay. Now our things we didn't like. And this is where Anna and Ben come into play for me. So
Right.
Bradley Cooper and Scarlett Johansson. I love both those actors. And they did a good job in this movie, but holy crap.
Yeah, I do not like them. I don't like their character. I don't like their personalities. They're both wishy-washy. Apparently, we both.
Oh, man. It is hard to watch them. So
it is.
Bradley Cooper's a married guy. He's married to Jennifer Connelly. And he decides he's going to have an affair with this beautiful Scarlett Johansson singer that he met at the Quickie Mart. And man, he's this charming guy and he turns into a douchebag.
Mm-hmm.
You just watch him slowly cave into being awful. And it is hard to watch. Oh man, it's hard to watch. You're just like, stop! No, don't! And Scarlett Johansson, like, she knows he's married. It isn't that she doesn't know. She decides that she's gonna do this.
Knows. Yep, and still pursues a married man.
Yes.
His character is awful. It's so much worse than Scarlett Johansson's character because there's a part where he's making out with Scarlett, but then his wife comes in, Jennifer Connelly, and they do it with Scarlett Johansson in his closet, and then she leaves, and then Scarlett Johansson is so mortified and she leaves. And like doesn't want to have anything to do with him, and it kind of scars her almost. So
and I'm like, good. When she's leaving and she's like, don't touch me, don't call me again, leave me alone. Finally, right? I think it's because he had convinced her that he was in an unhappy marriage. And then Janine comes in with, you know what, let's try and make our marriage work. I want to make this work. And
what would you do in that situation if your husband were to come to you and say, hey, I slept with another woman? Would you try to make it work like Jennifer did, or would you?
I cannot see that happening. I'm sorry.
I can't either. But let's pretend in this make-believe world. Yeah, Kyle would never do that. But let's pretend.
So if I was Jennifer Connelly, Bradley Cooper came up to me and was like, yeah, I do want to make this work. I would be like, okay, let's work on this. I liked her little note. P.S. I want a divorce.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or the part where she's sitting with Javier and she's divulging her life problems. They're fixing up their house. And this contractor, she's talking to him because she knows something's going on with her husband. She doesn't know what yet, but she talks to Javier in a way. She's like, she finds cigarettes and she doesn't.
Ashtray in her backyard.
Yeah, and her father died from lung cancer, and she asked her husband about it, and she thinks he lied straight to her face. And so she's taking it out on Javier. She's like, how can you lie looking at me straight at my face? And he's like, I'll talk to my guys about it. Like,
yeah, he's like, what is happening? She just kept talking about it.
I know, and it was so great.
Yeah.
Okay, what's something else you didn't like? Because I think
that's pretty much it. Just Bradley Cooper and Scarlett Johansson's characters. I did not like. I hated how she was stringing Connor along. She was a piece of work.
Yes, she was. And the inappropriate scenes. So, holy cow. Lorenzo was sitting on the couch, kind of watching it with me. And I just picked up a pillow and held it so he couldn't see the screen. He's like, what's going on? Because he was coding. He wasn't full on watching it, but he was watching it. And I was just like, you can't watch this part.
Yeah.
I think I held up the pillow 3 times. So there's 3 highly inappropriate scenes. They don't show anything, but man, they show stuff.
You're definitely aware when there's children present.
Yeah.
So I've got some questions for you. So after a date or an interaction with a guy, have you ever gone back to your girlfriends to analyze the interaction that you had with them?
Oh, totally.
Right.
Totally. That's what you do. Like, or to just kind of like relive the moments, you know, where you're like, oh, and then he did this, and then this happened, and oh, isn't that wonderful? And I didn't date tons of guys, So I don't know if I was ever in the situation to really like analyze too many relationships, but what about you?
Oh, all my interactions. I either analyze them in my head or conversations with other people. I'm sure me and you have had conversations about people. So, yes, that is a definite yes. Okay, here's this one. Have you ever had someone warn you during a relationship with a guy or comment on their character after you guys broke up? I think you told me about a guy that was kind of iffy.
I did, but I don't think anybody knew that I was seeing this guy. It wasn't that it was like secret. It's just it was short. Yeah. It was very short.
Where was I? Was I around?
You were in Afghanistan.
Or was I doing Oh, okay. My own little world.
It was just a couple weeks long, and we didn't like go out. We just kissed sometimes.
Just hung out. Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he wasn't that great of a guy. So that's why I probably talked to you about him with you, because he was just this guy that I kissed, and he wasn't a great person. He wasn't an awful person, but I was like, yeah, before this goes anywhere, I'm just gonna not hang out with him anymore. So then we parted ways, and that was that. Yeah. But that was right after I broke up with a guy that I was pretty serious with. And so I guess I had a rebound.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Wait, who was the other guy you were serious with?
Should I say his name on here?
Oh. You don't have to if you don't want to.
We'll call him Brady. And we dated for a while, and we were boyfriend and girlfriend, and there was a point where we were like, well, we can either go to the next step or break it off, and we both decided we'd break it off because we liked each other and we were good friends, but we weren't gonna get married, so that was it, I guess.
Have I met him?
I think you met him. Yeah. That was also while you were in Afghanistan. It was a very crunched amount of time that I...
You just speed dated that whole time.
Not on purpose, but no. No. I think we started dating prior to you leaving. And this is when you were in a pretty serious relationship. And so we just didn't see each other much during that time. So,
yeah. There were some guys that were not the best, but the one I can think of off the top of my head was Josh, one of the Joshes. Oh, we went to my cousin's house, Mike, and they went out in the garage and they were talking, and then they came back in, and Mike later was like, there's something off about this guy. I don't know what it is, but just kind of keep that in the back of your mind. I think in his head, he was like, break up, break up, break up, break up. But he didn't want to come out and say it.
Yeah.
Unless he did. I just don't remember. But I think he was like, kind of watch yourself with this guy. And he brought up a couple of things. And I was like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. And yeah. I wish I could attribute the breakup to him. But I don't know. Maybe it had to do with his influence in that decision. But there was just a weekend where I was doing drill, military stuff, and it kind of hit me. It took me forever. I don't know why.
Oh
but
man, it did take you forever. Because I was thinking the same thing, and I don't know why we can't just come straight out and say it. But you don't want to harm your friendship either by telling your friend not to date a guy, because what if they really like them, and what if they end up marrying that person and then they always hate you because you told them not to date the person that they married.
Yeah.
Which almost happened with you.
Yeah. And I don't know if this is good or bad, but I don't remember that at all. It makes me sad that I got upset with you. I don't even, who was that? Do you remember?
I don't remember which one. Kindy didn't
There were
date
so
tons
many.
of guys. She didn't, but she had a lot of guys interested in her. But I remember one time that I was just like, maybe you like that guy isn't so great, and you were like, it wasn't that you got mad at me. It was just that you kind of took what I said and kind of buttoned up. You like didn't talk to me for a while. It was kind of like you gave me the cold shoulder for a little bit.
Oh, that's sad.
But I was like,
I'm sorry
okay,
for
can't
my
do that anymore.
Yeah, I was not mature back then at all. I couldn't handle life.
And maybe
Hence
that's
the
why girls do
buttoning
it
up.
too. Like what you were saying
Why we
earlier.
lie to each other.
Why we lie to
Yeah.
each other, because you don't want to ruin a friendship by telling them what you think.
Yeah, and women can't handle being brutally honest for the most part. Some can, but I
Especially
feel
when
like
your
that's
heart's
another thing.
involved. Like
Yeah,
when it's
so it's
about
a
love,
little
when it's
tender.
about how you feel, feelings are touchy subjects, and that's why it's so hard to tell the person that you love them, because it's like, here's my heart,
Please
don't
stomp
squish
it,
it.
stab it. Yeah, right.
It's scary.
Yeah, because you run that risk. Oh man,
And heartbreak hurts. Like it
it
physically
does.
hurts your chest.
It does. Yeah, I
Oh,
remember. Yeah, broke up with a guy. I cried for 3 days after that.
oh yeah.
It was brutal.
And
Oh, I
before I
wanted
broke
it to
up
work so
with
bad.
a guy, with Brady, with a
Yeah.
guy, I remember just before we broke up, I was just like, it's coming. I can feel it. And I had my good cry, and I cried for like a week.
Oh
And then
man.
when we ended up breaking up, I didn't shed any tears at all. I was just like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we need to do.
Yeah.
I'd already crossed that
You
bridge, I guess.
had- Yeah. You'd already handled that part without him. So
Yeah. Okay, so here's my question.
okay. Yeah.
How come communication in relationships can be so hard?
I think kind of what you said about when it involves feelings, it's hard to articulate. And if you don't really know where you're at, I feel like that with Scarlett Johansson, that was one thing that was super annoying. She didn't know what she wanted until she was in that relationship, because there's been times where I got into a relationship and I'm like, I don't want this,
Mhm.
but I just went with it for a while, and then I finally was like, you have to deal with this. But that was when I was in high school,
Right.
and it was stupid stuff. But anyway, so it's just kind of it's kind of like a combination of a lot of things. Like your background has your family in your growing up days established communication well in order to then facilitate the communication in your future interactions with people. And then just what you said about how when it involves emotions, it's very heart-wrenching, and I feel like human nature is to go to the worst thing that's going to happen. I love this person, I want to tell them I love them, but if they don't reciprocate, it's internalized as I'm not worth loving back.
Yes.
Instead of you're just not
That's
meant
not going to
for
work
each
out.
other.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that's how it's taken, instead of, that's two people yeah, just don't work out. And then but it's so internalized, and when it involves feelings, it's like that much more heart-wrenching when it's like, here's my heart, oh, you stabbed it, thanks, I'm just gonna go over in the corner and bawl my eyes out and
Yeah.
bandage up my heart as best I can.
Right. Because they use it in movies and books a lot, like the scenario of bad communication.
Yeah.
In any love story, you're like, it's all about people not talking to each other. But when really,
Yeah.
that's kind of true to life too. And I like what you said, that like if you establish that in your family, good communication, that will kind of play out in their lives too. Like if you set up with your children, oh, we need to talk about this, it will probably help them out better later in life.
Yeah, I just don't know how to do that. Love is so tricky because in the books, you know that the characters like each other, but in real life, you don't know that the other person likes each other
because
unless
they
you're on
don't
the
communicate.
outside.
You don't communicate that with the other person. You're just like, I like him, and I'm keeping all those feelings inside, and dropping subtle hints, which guys never pick up on subtle hints.
Never, ever. How many hints did you give Kyle before you wrote that letter?
So many. I felt like a million, but he was like, I didn't pick up on any of those.
I just don't. Our communication level are so different. It still amazes me. Like even Matt, my loving husband, I'll ask him something and he'll say something totally different. Like he'll answer my question, but it's the way I worded it, or it blows my mind. I'm like, this is so crazy.
Women and men are just so different and people.
And we have unfair expectations, I think, too.
Yes.
Especially when it's like, I want you to know what I want you to do. It's like, how would I know if you haven't told me what you want me to do? So,
Emmeline, tell him what you want.
Yeah, you just got to be direct.
Yep.
Which is exhausting because it's like, okay, I need him to do this. How do I ask this in a non-threatening way? Oh man, I've come so far. I've done so much better where I've gone from expecting my husband to do things to knowing that he's not going to know what I expect him to asking what I need him to help me with.
Look at you.
Oh, it's been awesome. It's like 9 days. Because now there's things where he'll just do, or I'll be like, hey, are you good to do this or whatever? And he's like, yeah, I got it. And it's amazing. Like Anders, he had a poofy cheek. Oh man, my kids are just, something's wrong in the air at our house because everybody's had to go to the doctor. Not everybody, the kids. We have 2, so it's not that drastic, but thankfully. Anyway, so he had a poofy cheek and I was like, oh my gosh, we need to get him to the doctor. Matt called, made the appointment and took him and got all of his medication and has been on it and like remembered, thankfully, to get him his medication because I can't for the life of me. So bless my husband for doing that because last time Anders had a prescription. He doesn't have a subscription to medicine. That'd be weird. But anyway, a prescription. I couldn't remember to have him take it. Like I forgot like 2 days in a row. And I mean, he got better, thankfully, but no help of the medication because I kept forgetting. So yeah, it's amazing what a simple communication concept will do in a relationship. It's like my long-winded way to say, communicate, people. It's the best.
It is. Okay, so what is your rating, Kindy, out of 5 stars?
Probably 5.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. It's been a while since I've seen this movie, so, but I could watch it anytime.
Oh, I love it so much. And I was like, I'd give it a 5, but I was like, dang it, I can't. Because of the Bradley Cooper, Scarlett Johansson parts, it brings it down a notch because I was just like, oh. So.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's a 4 stars for me. Mom approved. Who would we not let watch the show?
Well, kind of like, it's funny that you brought up that you had to shield Lorenzo's eyes because Anders was in the same room with me. He wasn't watching it. He was watching his own stuff. But there was one part where they said a swear word and he looks at me and I'm like, oh, please let that have gone over his head. but I thought, oh, I better say something. I was like, we don't say that. And then he said it.
Oh.
I think it was the BS one. And I go, yeah, we don't say that. That's a swear word. Other people might, but we don't. But it was so cute. Because I told Matt, because Matt watches a lot of YouTubes that have swear words. I was like, he's going to swear because of these. And it wasn't him, it was me. There were so many swear words in that show.
Oh,
movie.
there are.
And then, yeah, and then I had to fast forward to the office scene. So definitely not for a 5-year-old, and I'm sure not for a
14-year-old. Not
14?
for...
Okay. Yeah.
So
maybe 16 or 17.
17 and up, maybe. Yeah.
But no, it wouldn't
man.
be. I'm sure 16-year-olds have seen this movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But there is lots of, there's swearing, there's the sexy scenes, there's just parts that you want to shield your kids from.
Yes. So definitely not for kids at all.
But yeah, such a relatable movie and so fun.
It is.
All the other parts are really great.
Yeah.
Okay, so our top 3 this week, we decided that we were going to talk about 3 ways we could tell if a guy wasn't into us.
I'm kind of excited to hear yours.
Oh,
How about you go first?
they changed the subject, where I'd kind of, start flirting a little bit, and they changed the subject completely. I'm like, okay, hint taken.
Yeah.
So
I could never figure out flirting. Like it's so hard to describe, and it's so hard to, I don't know, because I'm like, to me it just seems, I don't know. So, maybe I just couldn't do it.
Okay,
others.
Audience,
really
Kindy is a natural flirter, apparently, but that she didn't even know she was doing it because she was good at it.
I doubt it. So I was just being friendly. Plus, and I had the worst issue. I liked everybody. Like every guy I came across, I was like, I like you. Let's hang out. Let's go out. Oh, I mean, there were some that I did not automatically like, but I felt like practically everybody. It was a problem. Anyway, thankfully, I don't have to worry about it anymore. That was one thing about the movie where I was like, I'm so glad I don't have to date anymore.
Man.
It's awful.
I think that's something, whenever Kyle and I are talking to somebody that, like, when we were talking to his sisters that were single or dating and stuff, and he's like, at the end of it, Kyle would always say, and I'm so glad that I don't have to do that anymore. Dating is awesome, but exhausting, yeah.
Yeah, that is true. There is some fun with it, especially like all the firsts.
Yeah.
That's fun.
Okay, so
sorry, tangent. The first one I thought of was after I ask a guy out, I only did this for a couple months. I don't know how long, but I would ask a guy that I liked or was interested in out, and then if they didn't ask me out, then that was it. I was like, okay, they don't like me. So that was one.
Oh, okay. That's a good one. Okay, then another one of mine was he told me outright that he didn't like me.
Did somebody do that to you?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, it's okay. It wasn't that I was super into him. It's just like, hey, let's go on a date as friends, And then he kind of told me at the end of the date, he's like, I don't like you at all. And I was like, it's okay. We're just friends. Like, I liked him as a friend. I wasn't super into him. It's just, I think he was worried that might happen. And so he was just like, let's be friends. Yeah. That was Wilson. So he was great.
My second one was the type of guy. So if they were like super hot or wealthy, I like automatically knew they wouldn't be into me. It's so superficial, but that was, yeah.
I probably have that one subconsciously. Okay. And then the last way that I knew a guy wasn't into me was that he would ask me about my friends.
Oh.
I was always the friend with the girls that guys liked, apparently.
Man. Still sucks.
Yep.
Mine is a conversation and their interest level. So like if you started talking to a guy and they were in the conversation, then they liked you. Or there was at least like an interest. Or if they were super aloof and just couldn't
keep
the
their
conversation
attention.
pretty much died. Yeah. That was always my problem. I couldn't keep the conversation going, even though I liked guys. I just sucked at communicating. So I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go over here because I just made this awkward. I'm really good at that. So,
well, those were good ones. All right, our next episode is going to be The Little Mermaid, the one that was made this year, 2023. So it's the live action one. So Kindy and I, neither of us have seen this movie. So
yeah.
We are going to experience the newness of it. And if you guys want to watch it ahead of time and then just listen to our review of it next week, that's what we'll be talking about. All right, so we would love to hear from you. You can get in contact with us on our website, Facebook, or our email. And on our Facebook is where we post like pictures of things that we talk about in the episode. And we ask a question that you can interact with us on there. And they're all listed in the show notes.
Help us grow. Tell others about us. Share something you learned with them. Maybe you enjoyed hearing about candy corn and the things you can make with it and how much Emmeline eats it. Share that information with those that you love. We'd like to thank Red Productions for the music and Jonica for the logo, and to our listeners. We are very grateful for you and we appreciate you.
Okay, so Clark's been listening to our podcast, and he let me know the other day about the innators he would make for himself. And they were so cute. I wanted to share. He said he wanted a chore doer innator. And these are his words. He wanted it to do my chores after school. And then get my schoolwork innator. It would be a robot that goes to school for me and gets the schoolwork if I miss school.
The fact that is an innator for him is very telling.
Okay, the last one he said was his energy use upper innator.
So explain that one.
When I am acting too crazy, it will run some laps around the house and use my energy to do it.